Newton, the way you spin that story round. Always sharp, just like a tack when you're tracking the price of the dollar and pound. But drop the narrative, that thing that you inherited. Your history homos chariot just pulled up outside. Scott, William, Patrick on the scene, they're breaking up the subroutine. Something's crackling in your brain, MK Ultra make you go insane. Hey, don't you know we're only on the case for a good time, baby? Took a rose pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby. Honey pots and psyop traps, you can trust the plan until you snap. Slop conspiracy everywhere. History homos clear the air. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Hey, history homos only on the case for a good time, baby. Took a roach pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby.
And we're live. So welcome back to the show. This week we got another banner episode. This is something I've been aware of since I initially read Program to Kill years ago now. And I always looked at this topic and was like, oh, that's a lot of stuff. And it is. Um, so we finally got around to it. Patrick and I studied the book Die for Me by Don Lasseter this week, as well as did our own research into the nature of the subject. I found some glaring examples of limited hangout in Die for Me. And also, it's also, as you would imagine, it's something that's very difficult to find information on because of the nature of the way you can research these days. And the fact that things just disappear off the internet.
Yeah, we are in we're in this we're in a golden age of information, but it's
gate kept.
At best. At worst, it will be nuked, disappeared forever. You know, like a certain a number of tapes.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a bigger issue, obviously. We'll get to that, of course. But yeah, so okay, let's start out the topic or the subject at hand is the
The dynamic
shenanigans.
the
Excuse me.
dynamic duo.
Yeah.
These
But I don't
guys
know.
didn't
Again,
know.
calling it a duo is probably a little bit
Yeah, you're not allowing for all the hard work that the session musicians put in. The
yeah,
nameless,
sure.
faceless, hard
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
That's some,
And the broader infrastructure, because again, now not to, and I do urge you guys to listen back to the Program to Kill and the Eye of the Chicken Hawk episodes, as well as all. I think this is firmly within the canon of the Program to Kill episodes of the History Homos podcast. But
Mhm.
basically, let's just quickly go over the thesis one last time. Essentially, the thesis is that the serial killer narrative, as we understand it, and the way that the court proceedings, generally speaking, are carried out in the wake of a serial killer narrative being floated, generally focus on like the gruesome and like lurid stuff and make it out to be like there's a singular or in this case a pair of depraved individuals who just are fucked up guys who like to do this because they had a bad childhood and all et cetera, et cetera. And it the reason they do this is partially I want to give, particularly in this case, I want to give a little bit of like kindness towards like the prosecutors because this is a mess of a case.
Before we go any further, I gotta
Yeah,
ask you, Scott, and I'm really
yeah,
just doing this for you to set me up. How are you?
fine. In wake of learning about this stuff, I mean, like, listen, it's damaging,
Okay,
obviously.
okay, and uh, what do you say when someone asks you how you are? You say back
Oh, and
to,
you and you as well. And how are
"I-
you?
I'm older, fatter, balder, and not much wiser."
Let's see how things play out.
What? This
That's the
man,
greatest line in this whole book, by the way. Yeah.
he skims right up against eloquence. He coulda, he maybe in another life, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean, it speaks to the fact that he was so successful in doing all this shit and talking people into doing insane things.
yeah.
It speaks to his natural charisma. Although I have studied the direct videotapes of this guy, and he's got a fucking off-putting aura, to be honest with you. Like he's got this weird,
It's
feminine,
his
almost
eyes, Scott.
California voice. Like,
You got no, you Scott. It's his eyes. They're so
yeah, we the video does lack that, of
they
course.
glisten. They're so disarming.
Okay, but
Uh,
go
yeah,
back to the
but
narrative
yeah,
though. Yeah.
very important.
So my point here. So this is a mess of a fucking case,
It's a
and
mess.
so I understand why the prosecutors who are tasked with throwing the book at Charles Ng decided to go with the framing that they did because first of all, one of the principal actors in the crimes is dead. And we'll get to that, of course. And the other being, it's easy. You need what a prosecutor does is try to convict somebody, and by introducing the fact that they were likely in a ecosystem of drug and gun trafficking, um, pornography, illicit, illegal pornography production, perhaps snuff film production. It does not make
Prostitution.
prostitution and all the things. It doesn't make for an easy case to try to convict a guy on. So
Mm.
you can arguably make you can make the argument that even if they were firm believers in those theories that we're going to be exploring today as the prosecutors and investigators, I could see the argument within the organization to go, let's just leave that on the table and convict him on the things we know he did, kind of
Right,
thing.
right. Because if any of the charges turned out to be spurious or
Right.
and,
It'll destroy the case. Yeah.
yeah, back to square one. Do not
Right.
collect 20 million What? How many? 20
It
million
was a
in
lot of
tax
money. That again, once more, this
most
is a very
expensive
most expensive trial in a California history.
for a little ching chong guy. Look, hello. I mean,
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be dismissive. This guy is actually more dangerous than Bruce Lee. I think that's all
arguably,
he was
yeah,
trying to ever do, and he did it.
yeah. Bruce Lee
Uh,
was an actor. Charles Ng was the real, genuine article.
I'll take your Bruce Lee and raise you one Charles Ng, which,
Yeah,
by the way, if these guys, I'll set you up now.
yeah.
What if these guys were, different, different, race?
Oh, oh, you mean Lenny Lake and Charles Nigg?
I think Lamar Lake.
Lamar Lake. My initial instinct was Lenny, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, let's do the obligatory background stuff here. So we got two principal characters here. Um, Charles Ng now today resides on permanent death row status in California because there's a moratorium on executions for state convictions and state sentencing of death.
The
And
paperwork moves so damn slow, they still think he's Canadian.
yeah,
They don't know
it's not
what to
even
do
that
with him.
they don't want to. They're not going to kill him. It's just like
No,
California Newsom in 2009. No, no, no. In 2019, passed the thing that said that we're never going to kill anybody for state death penalty charges.
typical lib.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to kill
Um,
the
you know,
Chinaman.
I think it's actually ironic though because I think like the system wanted this guy dead, so we couldn't say anything else.
That's what puts a hitch in my step is I this is what makes sense to me when we see I think about McVeigh a lot in cases like this where
Me
a
too. Yeah.
high value uh subject like Ing, like McVeigh, like any of these guys who have I don't know, receipts, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they kept alive as a show of good faith to other actors in the
Yeah. That's a
black
possibility.
and the dark economy so that people know that all right, if I play if it
If
goes
I play
shit goes
ball, yeah.
sideways and I
Mhm.
keep my mouth shut, I do what I'm supposed to do, I'll be all right. I'll, have phone privileges
Yeah,
and
he did.
probably
He has some weird privileges too. That's another thing with the book. So okay, let's do the obligatory background stuff. Charles Ng is mysterious. His father is a mysterious career, wealthy guy from Hong Kong, and mysteriously also has family members all over the Anglosphere,
hmm
like
hmm
including people who have connections to get him into like fairly posh boarding schools in northern England.
mm. I couldn't figure if that was a Jesuit Catholic school,
I
but
don't I think this
I
is
don't
what
know
they
if
call
it's
public schools in England,
uh,
which is to say they're private schools. They're called public
uh
schools because they're
yeah.
not associated with the church. Um, but I believe it's like one of those just like posh, like you have to pay money to go to this school kind of dealios. But I don't want to speculate too far on that because there's not enough data when it comes to that where he spent his childhood. I just want to say that his background is kind of a big question mark. We don't really know where his father, Charles's father, Cheetot's father, had get his money from, but he's clearly a enigmatic and wealthy character. I don't know. But so I guess maybe we should do Lake first because he is chronologically earlier as well. He's older.
Mm, right.
So Lake was a son of a working class family, a military family, and he was like the discarded first son essentially due to divorce and money problems and stuff. Uh,
Literally,
what's that?
literally discarded. Like
Yeah,
they
they gave him to the
abandoned
grandparents. Yeah,
and just left. He was born in 1945,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
It was
so
literally
that
right after VJ Day, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so
Who'd
typical
have knew
young
he'd grow up to be a Jap lover?
yeah, I guess, yeah.
Who'd have
He
thunk?
but had like a typical serial killer background, like or meme serial killer meme background, if you get what I'm saying. His
Hmm
his young playmates all thought of him as creepy, like dissolve rats with fucking acid and
Where
shit.
does the boy get acid?
They said he had a chemistry set. Back then, they gave kids chemistry
That's
sets.
so true. So true. They can be
Um,
trusted.
yeah, I guess.
No.
But I just consider that I don't consider that relevant to the overall thing. What is relevant
No.
is his stint in the Marines, and Vietnam, of course. Now, in his service record indicates that most of his time was doing radio repair and stuff. Um, we don't necessarily know that. That is one of those things where, again, this is the Marine Corps. By the way, Marine Corps were the guys who are in the Phoenix program, who are the guys on the ground in the Phoenix program. I'm not saying that
Mm.
he was in the Phoenix program by any means.
But he did have a lot of training. For a guy
He
that
had a
didn't
lot
see
of
any
training,
combat, apparently, he went through a
apparently, yeah.
lot of programs, got certified in a whole lot of different
Fire control, rifling, all kinds of stuff that would be handy in what he would later do in his life. And also, again, um, there's differing accounts from his own words whether or not he was in the shit or not. Because he told a bunch of people that, yeah, I've killed a bunch of people in Vietnam, and then other people he told a similar story to what appears to be a service record, which is he didn't see that much combat and he was
Mhm.
mostly, doing administrative slash technical roles. But we don't know. However, what we do know is that at the end of his second deployment, he suffered a mental collapse and he spent months in intensive psychiatric care, military psychiatric care, after which he was medically discharged from the military and went back into civilian life. Including, there's some very odd details about while he was in psychiatric care where he had broken into an armory and like was shitting himself, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Um,
It's fun. The parallels here, the overlap between
oh yeah, between
Ing
yeah,
and Lake's own uh military track records. It's almost as if there is an unspoken bucket that guys like this go into,
right.
the dipshit division, you
Yeah.
know. Dipshit, we don't know what to do with them. We'll
Mm,
deal with it later division.
right. So okay, he's sent back into civilian life, where he becomes kind of a wanderer. And he has his first marriage dissolves shortly after the military. It dissolves because he gets into this is his lifelong obsession, which is um photographing women in various states of undress, creating pornography, amateur pornography. And he had a propensity to want to get into non-orthodox sexual arrangements. And his first wife was not really very much into it. And she eventually left him over the fact that, oh yeah, he made her be a stripper because he wouldn't work too. That's the other thing. This guy rocks.
Dude, this guy, it's all right. The original PUA, OG
Yes, yes, he
PUA.
really is. He's mystery.
Leonard Lake just needed to grow that horseshoe into a ponytail, all right, and just wait it out
A
another
skullet.
10. Yeah, skull it. There you go. And just, wear like, I don't know, glistening rings and tell guys to, tell other
He
guys
could
to
have
do
been
all
Andrew
this.
Tate, yeah.
Yeah, but
Andrew Lake.
Andrew Lake. Oh God, the Matrix is trying
By the way,
to.
they also traffic women in fucking Brand. Like,
Oh wait, oh yeah,
have
yeah.
spurious connections to
Hmm.
intelligence as well. But
It
anyway,
goes on and on.
moving on from Andrew Lake. But yeah, so he like basically his goal in life was to spend his days sort of tinkering and photographing women in the nude while somebody took care of him essentially, but also in the same breath harbored hatred towards parasites as
Oh
well.
my God. Yeah,
I
his
guess
own.
it really is psychology 101 though. It's you hate in other people what you hate in yourself, you know.
Mm, sure. Yeah, and this was, I mean, who knows? Oh man, who knows what spurred on the mental break while he was in the military? He was already kind of wacky, obviously. He had some,
Right.
detachment issues.
Sure.
Probably didn't, but what
To,
what's
to to put the fine point on it, I'm not exactly saying they MK Ultra'd him, but I'm not saying they didn't MK Ultra him as well.
I mean, it doesn't seem like the psychiatry helped.
No, it seems like it actually actively harmed harmed him or set him on a
Oh,
trajectory in which maybe is regrettable in
yeah,
retrospect.
in retrospect. Hey,
Um,
hindsight's 2020, am I right?
so
Unless
true.
you're Charles Ng, am I right?
Yes. So at this point is he starts getting involved in the green fields sort of commune. I don't want to use the word commune because it wasn't a commune, it's sort of like an agricultural project.
Community.
Yeah, and it is
It's
well
an
known by the
agricultural
way.
community.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, I'm sorry. But
But
they got rules, but
which he broke. Yeah, of course.
which also hypocritically bitched about the same rules being broken later
Well,
on
no,
in the story.
I don't think he actually
S-
cared. It was just a way to get like sort of social leverage over
Sure.
those guys, honestly. But
I wouldn't.
let's talk about that. That's a huge fucking clusterfuck. I don't know if you look deeper into that whole mess later outside of the book because there's a
Oh,
lot that the book does not cover in that.
yeah, but naturally by the this book was written in 2000,
Yeah,
so there's been so much,
there's
and
been a lot of new
there was
stuff. Yeah,
probably so much at the time too.
yeah,
But
that he
we'll
just
get
couldn't
into it.
fit it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's rip.
Okay, so so he's in Greenfields. He also comes into contact with this guy named Oberon Otter Zell, and his wife Morning Glory, I think her name was. Now these people are very notable. These are like they have a Wikipedia page. Like
Hmm.
they are the founders of a group called the Church of All Worlds, which is a it is a explicit real life incarnation of the religion, fictional religion from Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land, which if avid listeners will remember that that was like Charles Manson's favorite book. um, yeah. What are you
Right.
looking for?
Oh,
Um,
looking up the Church of
Church of
All
All Worlds.
Worlds,
Yeah, yeah. It's
neo-pagan
also
group.
I was gonna say it also the splinters off from that group became what we now consider the neo-pagan movement, as it were. And indeed, Lake himself, during this time particularly, considered himself an Odinist. So all you pagan LARPers out there by Adam Greenberg or whatever, fucking
Yeah.
this is
You
where
want
it
this
comes
guy?
from.
You want this guy showing up at the party?
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
Lenny?
that's what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's it called? So what was I gonna say?
There was mention later on during court testimony about Leonard saying they believed in human sacrifice,
Yes,
which,
that's it's
yeah.
a rumor that does not start and end with Leonard Lake, by the way.
No.
It's out. It's in sort of in the rumors ecosystem of that these people are real kooks. And also, it's not a matter of rumor that this guy had developed a way to create unicorns from goats in a process that was, in fact, surgical, but
Alchemical.
he called it alchemy. Yes, I was gonna say the guy, the Oberon guy, he considered it a form of lower magic to do this with a K. And so what they did was they went around to Renaissance fairs. By the way, I also should mention that these were not Lake specifically. We don't know. We don't have receipts on this whether Lake was. But now, because interestingly, Dave McGowan straight out says that Lake was a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism, but we don't know that for sure. However, we do know that the Zelf pair were.
Hmm.
They were absolutely without a shadow of a doubt involved in that.
And
For those who
who
don't
started
know,
that?
some weirdo Berkeley like science fiction authors.
Oh, I thought it was Thornley. No, he was
No, no, that's Discordianism.
that's I'm big. Sorry.
Yeah. These I don't know much about those people, but I do know that if they're hanging out with these people, they're fucking weird.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
this is a quite the how you say conflagration of characters,
Yes.
the kinds of people that are meeting
So
at this.
while Lake lived there, he likely burglarized a bunch of all his neighbors' houses, which sort of ostracized him from the place. This is also the time where he started to sort of get into the like pornography production. And he also this is also the time period in which he started getting interested in survivalism.
Mm.
Another thing is that he became an avid reader of a Soldier of Fortune magazine, which allegedly is the place that Charles Ng was introduced. They hooked up via an ad placed in Soldier of Fortune magazine. I don't know that that's necessarily true. It seems too convenient
Mm.
for this kind of partnership to be formed over a personal ad. I feel like that's not a cover story, but a simplification
Yeah,
of what happened.
it was they both knew the same guy through
Yeah,
Soldier of Fortune, and it just so happened that I don't know if you were going to tell this, but when Ing was on his own little personal journey,
I think we're going to
he,
cover that in a moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he looked Lake up. Um,
So
but
Lake had
it
made
was
contact with a
natural.
guy through Soldier of Fortune, allegedly. I don't, in what capacity, I don't know. I want to point out here that Soldier of Fortune, to me, seems like a fucking spook cutout like thing
Yeah, it's like what platonic match.com for like,
for spooks. Yeah,
for spooks and retired operators,
yeah,
guys with
yeah.
itchy, guys with limp peckers and itchy trigger fingers,
Yeah, I mean,
like Ing.
notably, yeah, like Aang, yeah, but notably, Dale from King of the Hill
Hell
was a
yeah, dude.
subscriber to
Hell yeah,
Soldier of
dude.
Fortune
Subscriber.
magazine,
He was a what do you call it?
lifetime member.
Honorary lifetime membership. Uh, that so, but I do believe I wish I doubled back to OKC to see what especially in like Aberration, the painting book,
Oh yeah, I
the Wendy
definitely think
painting book.
McVeigh read this kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think specifically with Stone. What's his Roger? Was it Roger Stone?
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
Roger
Roger
Stone. Yeah,
Stone.
remember because it's the other Roger Stone.
Yeah, the other the one without a Nixon tattoo on his back, but
Yes,
he's mangled and evil as well in his own way. Um, but so yeah, um, Lake is a burgeoning photographer, and he's got
pornographer, and
yeah,
everyone who comes into contact with him is like, this guy's fucking weird. He's photographing my 16-year-old sister. I popped a videotape in his from his house, and there was surreptitious nude photography being taken. Now here's the thing: what did he do with this? We don't know. It all sort of culminates later, obviously. But what was he doing with these? Did he have buyers? He told people that he had buyers for this stuff. And when he would make pornography with his wife, his girlfriend slash wife, which I guess we can cover that now. While he was traveling around with the Sir Lancelot, the unicorn, which is a goat, he met this woman named Clarelyn Balaz, who was sort of his partner in crime, particularly when
Rickety
Aang was
Cricket.
not around. Yeah, Rickety Cricket. Yeah, Cricket was her nickname. And she was, I think she's the third suspect, frankly, if I'm being perfectly frank, at least. But because we'll get into it, I guess. She met with she and she they began making amateur pornography, and worth mentioning here is that she worked as a teacher's aide at the San Francisco, not San Francisco, whatever. It was a juvenile hall, though, basically, that she worked at, meaning there were troubled kids that she was overseeing. And there is rumor, we have no objective attestation to this, however, but there's rumors that she would take young women and girls from this sort of space that she had access to bring to Leonard for photography and perhaps surreptitious keyhole nude recording, and perhaps worse.
Right.
Regardless, it's massively hazardous that wife of a serial killer is has access to underage girls at a
Yeah.
school.
And continued to, because after they moved, she got another
New
job at
job
another
doing that.
school,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
right off rip. Um, the lack of paperwork is disturbing.
Yeah. Yes. It is a
Tough.
pretty it's tough stuff. So they're living there, and I don't yeah, eventually he ends up leaving the place, and they end up moving to Philo, and they manage a motel, which more shenanigans takes place there, of course. Okay, now let's talk about Ing. Ing
My
had
Inga.
he bounced around between family members throughout the Anglosphere, that he mysteriously went to England, Canada, all kinds of different places, until he eventually ended up in San Francisco. And he did a hit and run accident, and was put in a position where he needed to join the military to stay, or to not be deported, essentially.
Typical, typical,
Yeah,
typical.
Chinese driver. Yeah, I
Where
mean,
are you going? Um,
there's like
what?
literally five times that Charles Ng was driving and he got in an accident in the story.
Um, what's worse is he's got terrible eyesight. He's got
Yeah.
really, really strong glasses. Um, what's funny is he was born in Hong Kong, but his military recruitment paperwork says he was born in where was it in Indiana? Shit. It escapes me.
Jacksonville, Indiana.
Mm, no.
Bloomington, Indiana.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Bloomington, Indiana. And so, but his attestation in court was that his Marine recruiter had falsified documents to the effect that he was born in Bloomington, Indiana, and
Mm.
ergo he was led into the Marine Corps. His career in the Marine Corps was short. While he went immediately to Hawaii, as I understand it, after boot camp, and he sort of didn't. He had a weird service record, again, of course, and he decided while he was there that the Marine Corps was boring and there was no action, and that he decided on the side that he would start stealing weapons from the armory and sell it. Now, it is indicated in the book that the guy that introduced Lake to Eng and vice versa had something to do with the gun trafficking. Now,
That'd
I
be
find this
Novak.
interesting. Novak, yes, that's the
Yeah.
guy. And I think that's interesting because of their connection via the Soldier of Fortune magazine. And it indicates another thing is they talked about the syndicate. Well, let's talk about what happened. So basically, they had created a plan where Ing understood that there was only one guy on guard outside of the armory at any one given time. So it was easy to just be friends with that guy and be allowed access to it, where he could slip in and out. He managed to get a bunch of shit out of the armory undetected, and hid it in like on the beach, like in bags that he had buried. And how did exactly
Very
did he get bagged? No, they just knew that somebody was. Yeah, how did
for
exactly did it happen?
Operation Gradio.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. That was because there were I
Oh,
think
they
three
just
people.
pressured. Right, they just pressured the guy who had given him the car.
Yeah,
Slash.
he threatened to karate chop him, literally.
Yeah, he also said, "I'll tell your wife that you cheated on her," in order to
Damn,
get that over. Yeah, dude, blackmail's even in this.
damn, blackmail.
Um,
They stoop, they stoop low.
yeah,
The worst thing
he,
is the hypocrisy, frankly.
yeah, clearly, I thought it was the rape, but,
Oh,
um,
did you?
yeah,
Well, uh, opinions or you know.
everybody's got one asshole. Um, Anyway, so he gets bagged. I don't exactly know what the chronology. I don't remember the chronology. It's not really important. The fact is, he basically got burned by his partners because he
Mm,
delivered the weapons to the guy who that he was supposed to get it, and he essentially ended up still getting in caught for it.
mhm.
And he essentially what happened was uh he, again, there was also reference to a syndicate that he was selling these guns to, and I don't know who that is. Like, it's never explained who that is, how he met them, other than the guy named like Ace or something. There was a guy named Ace was a contact they made
Rothstein.
off base. I don't think that's him. But I think that's obviously just a pseudonym because they didn't want to say even a first name as to what this guy's
Oh,
name
sure.
was. I'm
Absolutely.
sure because they wanted to protect, and that stayed firmly out of the record, of course. But what I do know is that eventually he was apprehended, and he just managed to slip away like Ted Bundy.
Charlie N. You let slip Charlie N.
Yeah,
I popped my eye out of my head for Charlie N.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
he
apparently one guy
absconded.
he absconded. Well, that he had been they because he this is the official story is that because the military police that had him in custody felt that he wasn't a flight risk because he had been cooperative up to that point. And so one of them went off to call the radio for transportation to take him to the next place that he's supposed to go. I think he was already headed for Fort Leavenworth actually. Because as you know, military court is not like civilian court; it's very quick. So in literally one meeting, they determined he was guilty and sentenced him to however long. I think it was going to be a year and a half hard labor or something, or 3 years just detention or something. I don't know. But at any rate, he slips. The one guy is calling for transport. The other one falls asleep. This reminds me of Epstein, by the way, is that somebody just magically was asleep at the most important moment.
I'm a sus BB. Yeah, Officer,
Hernandez was
yes,
too sleepy. He didn't get a siesta in the afternoon. Was too sleepy to keep his eyes on
all
Ing.
all the same, man. And it's funny
How is it? How
because
would a Hispanic person say Ing?
mm,
Yeah,
mm, I don't know. I'm I'm pretty sure they'd probably ask you for the rest of the word,
yeah,
which
probably
fair enough. Um, yeah,
Ingaledo.
the
Okay,
the
we're
conveniences are mounting. We really should have a ticker going for
yeah.
the
I mean,
amount of
keep
convenience.
track at home, folks. You can tell
Yeah,
us what your score was at the end of the
all
episode.
the
At the end,
coinky dinks. Get it?
he
Co
manages to
he's a
escape
real
though.
coinky dink.
Yeah, sure is.
All right, sorry.
Wink.
That
He
sucked.
um what's it called? So he manages to escape magically, and also magically somehow he manages to get to the fucking mainland from Hawaii. How the fuck did that happen?
Um,
I mean, I know what they say happened. I'm saying, well, how did it happen?
how, I suppose he just made
What I'm
himself
speculating is that he had access to resources and or a network that would assist him in getting there.
naturally. But the more fun thing to imagine is that he, got spirited away.
It is a fact that the last person he was in contact with in Hawaii was that Novak guy.
Well, there you go. Exactly, yeah. He the fact that Novak's on either end this
Yeah.
series of events.
Also worth noting is that the name that Lake was using with Novak was Tom Myers. He got when he gave those poor women a bit more than a bong hit transplant.
Your
um
Honor, my client stands charged with a bong hit transplant.
Your Honor, my client stands charged with being innate. But anyway, so Ing travels to Philo, where Lake and his then wife, Cricket, are living as caretakers at a motel and also corrupting young women and creating pornography and likely selling it to God knows who. Because at this time he was going around bragging that he could get money for pornography videos, and yet this is absent from any sort of legal record that we have to this day.
Hmm.
And it's kind of odd. Again, another coinky dink.
Hmm. Yeah.
While they're there, Aang spends about 6 months with them, I think,
Hmm.
before they're apprehended. They clearly are deeply into weapons trafficking at this time
Right.
because they have RPGs. Now, listen, I understand the idea of like wanting guns. I'm a gun enjoyer in general. I also understand being a kooky, like a conspiracy theorist and survivalist sort of end times, secular end times believer.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I see the crossover between being a gun enthusiast and collector and that clearly.
Sure.
That said, they had an insane amount of high level equipment and weaponry that to
Hmm.
me must indicate money being
Yeah.
hand changing hands. It's not
Right.
just something he was collecting for funsies. He didn't have enough income to just collect that stuff for funsies.
Right. Yeah, this is not a Waco situation where they're like peddling, ARs
Yeah.
and no, this is real heavy artillery that does not it's not going in the register,
Yeah.
you know.
And I should mention too is that during this time, part of what he's managing to make money for himself is selling weed to San Francisco from
Further
likely
corruption.
it's not exactly positive of this, but there's a good shot that it is from the Greenfields place. Because throughout the later history of this, he uses promise of a weed farm in Humboldt County as being the place that he tries to lure people out to a weed farm in Humboldt County. Now, again, this is while later on he's living in Wilseyville, which is in Calaveras County. So it's not like the book sort of implies that he has a weed farm in Calaveras County, but it also at the same time indicates that he's telling people Humboldt County, which is where that Oberon guy lives.
Hmm.
So it seems like even though they made pains to seem like they were at odds with each other, the association continues. And I think it's in the form of drugs are being
Hmm.
supplied to Lake for sale as like an underling kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
he never quite seems to be in control of his situation. He is definitely which based on how he went out, he seemed to be all burning at both ends type of situation.
like
Like
Lee
they
Harvey Oswald. Like Lee Harvey
sure,
Oswald is
yeah.
always like between a paycheck and like living in a different fucking like living in some dump, moving around kind of thing.
Yeah,
They
these
did like that's the
guys,
thing. I remember when we did that. Me and William did that Corey Hughes guest crossover, and we piece by piece dismantled that guy's
yeah,
Har Oswald did it alone thing. And one of his arguments was, "Are you trying to tell me that a high level spy for the CIA only had $100 in his pocket?" And again, this fucking retard didn't even bother to punch that into the inflation calculator because $100 in 1960s money today is like
couple bucks.
$900.
It's a
Like,
couple bucks.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like that's a reasonable walking around amount of money, to be fair, as a
that's
spy, if you
that's
ask
walking
me.
around shooting the sheriff kind of money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
I didn't shoot
also,
the sheriff kind of money.
yeah, but at the same breath, they do kind of keep them in dire straits because otherwise,
Oh,
how are they going to get you to do stuff? You know,
hmm,
if you're well paid and made in the shade, are you going to be like, yeah, I'll go kill this guy for you guys?
yeah. I'll go shoot this patsy on live TV in front of everybody and
Right.
die of cancer shortly
Yes.
thereafter.
Correct.
Please, if I may, in service of whatever the hell this is.
Yeah. Well, for him, the guy you're talking about was for the Jewish race, if you're
The
not, if I'm not
syndicate.
mistaken.
The
Yeah.
syndicate.
Yeah, or the syndicate, as it were. But anyway, so I'm just saying this. There's a lot of parallels between his sort of lifestyle and these
Hmm.
other characters we see in our program to kill lore.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
it's a
and
lot of
broader
them.
parapolitical lore, really.
The North Fox Island shit, the Dean Coral
Yeah,
uh stuff, these guys they're hard up.
John Norman.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
So
never well off. Was the beating heart of the child predator network of America, serving all kinds of hot pedophiles high and low. You
mm-mm.
know,
The commission's whack,
yeah.
tell you that.
So
Um,
okay, they're
yeah,
in the Philo place, and I must assume that there's drug and gun trafficking taking place that's financing their operations, which by the way is the terms that he always uses, ops.
but we will call them shenanigans for
Yes,
the
his malarkey.
duration. Well, that is
Um,
hoopla.
he they okay. So eventually, though, Charles Ng is a pretty hot wanted item
Mm.
for having escaped the noose in like
Sexiest man
fled
alive.
multiple states. By the
He's
way,
on
also.
he's on the cover of Cosmo. Have you seen this man?
Oh, I think he's probably on the cover of fucking Law Enforcement Monthly.
Oh, he's on the cover of Soldier of Fortune.
Yeah, maybe. Um,
Most
the
valued
yeah, so
reader.
eventually the FBI finds them essentially and arrests them, and Lake thinks he can talk his way out of it by being like, yeah, it was just Chuck. I called Chuck. He's a crazy one. I don't know anything about guns. um but this is the interesting thing. So they get caught in what I imagine is a den of but we skipped over a little something that actually this is
Iniquity.
actually very off, is the fact that after they lost their job running the Philo Hotel, they start running a fucking camp for
Hmm.
boys. And they're living at a camp where there's boys at least. And Lake generally speaking does not come off as a homosexual predator, although he does do some gay shit at certain points. But he's not. I don't. He doesn't seem like he's a Norman. Is what I'm saying. He's not like a
Mm.
John Norman
Yeah, yeah.
character. He's more interested in girl, like pubescent,
Ladies.
yeah, underage but pubescent girls, as opposed
Yeah.
to like he's not. He probably wasn't molesting the boys at the camp. Is what I'm saying. But it's still off. It's still not cool. It's still
But
weird.
yeah, yeah, this, he didn't have to love everything he was doing. He seemed to, a lot of what he did, he was like, you know,
Almost reluctantly doing.
pissy
Yeah,
about it. Like, but he treats it like,
everything's a military
shuffling.
op. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, back in the shit. Like you're just abusing children and selling weed. Stop. Stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
Lay down and die.
Um,
But yeah,
he did do that
very
though.
disconcerting and also troubling that, the Society of Creative Anachronisms, and they had their own child abuse
Yeah,
situation. We're never too far off.
from
We can
that. Yeah,
imagine there might have been some, overlap in
of course, of
clientele.
course. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's not documented. We'll never know. But he ends up. This is odd to me. Is that so? He gets caught in what I assume is a den of obvious criminal activity, and the FBI decides to charge him only with possessing an unlawful firearm, which is objective. He did have unlawful firearms. And they let him out on bail, and he just jumped bail, and they
Yeah.
didn't look for him for a decade.
What's my bail? All right, reach into my pocket. There's some blood money in there, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I didn't say how much bail it was either, by the way, and how he produced the 10% either.
$100.
I don't know. It seems a little dubious if that's the
100
case.
billion yen. How many?
But anyway,
I
at any
forget.
rate, the official record indicates that he jumped bail at that point and spent the rest of his life on the run. Now, this is where he started like really going back to San Francisco and sort of insinuating himself. Oh, I should mention also, Eng goes to Fort Leavenworth, where he
Mhm.
makes friends in there. By the way, these will become important later, including one that he had maintained a phone slash pen pal relationship with, that he would later say some pretty damning stuff that never made it into the court record, but actually thankfully did make it into Die For Me.
Mhm.
And also that interview that you sent me where the guy, same guy, by the way, was I forget what his name was, but he was wearing like a booty hat and big sunglasses, and like and it was shot in a way that he looked like a shadow.
The Shadow.
Only the shadow knows what Charles Ng did.
Niggler.
But anyway, so he goes to Fort Leavenworth. So the next period of Lake's criminal career, this is important, cannot be solely attributed to the partnership of Ng and Lake, meaning he had to be working with other people at this time, at least in some capacity.
It seemed, ironically, the defense of the prosecutor and of Ing's def attorney,
Ing's
yeah,
defense attorney. Yeah, that's what you're trying to say.
Ing's defense was he had a point. It's like, look at this guy. He can't even tie his shoes. He's useless. He can't make decisions on his own. And well, while that's
That
not
doesn't seem
entirely true,
true. Yeah, it's
does,
definitely not true. He wouldn't have done the fucking Hawaii heist if he that was the case.
but he does seem to have things put in his lap. And
Yeah.
yeah, and he chooses to follow through and do these things. That's why he's still alive, is he's so amenable, I'm assuming. But
Yeah, I would think he
um,
fits well into structures, including prison. I'm guessing.
sure, yeah. No, you gotta have a guy like Eng around.
Yeah. I also should mention here is that shouts out to Patrick, aka the Lawfield in
Deliberate,
Love.
the deliberate
Is that his
stranger.
new handle, the Deliberate Stranger? I
Yes,
saw
there
that
he
somewhere,
is.
but it's to me he'll always be Lawfield in Love. But also
Never forget.
programtokill.net. Shouts out to Patrick from programtokill.net.
Hmm.
I noticed in the comments of some of his collected Lake and Ing stuff that he himself had responded to someone saying, I personally laid eyes on photos of Ing at a Society for Creative Anachronism event dressed as a ninja.
Oh my God. What a
And
dork,
these
dude.
these that used to be on the internet available, but now is no longer up. And he didn't archive it because he was younger when he wasn't doing the project at the time
Yeah,
that he saw these photos.
no kidding.
And there's much more direct evidence of Lake and Eng's overlap with the SCA, but that it's just now lost to the internet sands of time, unfortunately. So shouts out to him. If there's obviously a trove of more information on this, written information on this, on his website, programtokill.net. And so I encourage you guys, if this episode intrigues you, to go check it out. Um,
On the
so
topic, Dave McGowan's website that still stands. I believe it's Center for an Informed America.
CIA, yes.
Yeah, that's a
That's
great
also up as
resource.
well.
It's a
Yeah,
good
he's he
resource.
mostly that website is like a Manson timeline, which is which is very good, by the way.
Mm. And
Um,
you can also read Wagging the Moondoggy on there.
oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never read that.
it's great. Very
Anyway,
interesting.
the okay, so during this time, let's talk about Charles Gunner. This is the other thing. Charles Gunner is an enigmatic figure. Um, he's sort of remembered as one of the earlier
The white
Lake
whale.
victims. Yeah, the earlier Lake victims, but I gotta say there's something going on with him. I think he's connected to the overall thing a bit
Hmm.
more. Just the way the book treats him
Yeah.
is it has like he's got like an ominous presence other than just being a big fat guy.
Yeah.
But he was a friend for like Lake was best friends with him allegedly, but every person that met that was around Lake who wasn't Charles Gunner would reports that Lake fucking hated Charles Gunner's guts. But the book sort of attributes to the fact that he was a social security collector, but there
Mm.
has to be something else
And how
there.
he treated his daughters,
I
rich
I
coming from
believe. I mean, it
Lake.
is rich coming from him, but also I think it's
Oh, I'm sure
indicative
he's.
of the psychology, like the psychology 101 thing I was saying before, like you hate in other
Hmm.
people what you hate in yourself,
Hmm.
kind of thing. And I think he sort of projected his own self loathing about being a serial womanizer and victimizer onto Gunner.
A guy that
So,
was more repulsive than even him,
but he not though. Well, we don't know.
ironically.
Actually, we'll never know. That's
What
the problem.
happened to him? We don't know. We'll never,
Well, we
that's
killed him. They found his body, and he was riddled with bullets. So this is important.
yeah.
So okay,
That's what I mean.
Lake needed money after the Philo raid, and one of the ways he decided he was going to get money was to kill his friend that he was sick and fucking tired of, Charles Gunner. So we don't know. What we do know is that later in 1987, his body was found in a telephone ditch, um, and he was riddled with bullets, quote, from multiple firearms,
Yeah.
meaning that not just Lake shot him. I find it highly illogical, Captain, that
Yeah.
that he would shoot Gunner with multiple guns. It doesn't make sense. It
Then
just
go.
also doesn't
Yeah.
fit his modus operandi. He usually shoots some people with a 22, by the way, is generally speaking what he kills people with, programmed to
It's
kill.
a working man's gun. Working man's caliber.
So
Yeah,
the
no, a lot of all of the stuff that's on the record is like double taps,
Yep.
22 silence shots, people already tied up. Um, and frankly, not to, be sound stupid, but when it comes to I mean, I haven't watched did you watch the videos that are available?
Yes,
It's
I did.
I
They're not
didn't watch it
fun.
all the way through, and then
Well,
but
some of it's just not available. I watched
yeah,
what's available. Yeah,
yeah, but even that's so
it's bad stuff.
scary. Um, my point is, these guys did not, it's even on the book, it's the torture murders of Lake and Ing, but there's more gratuitous and like senseless serial killing uh uh cases out there. Look, it doesn't seem like these guys, it seems like they were working, you
Yeah.
know? Like these were
Yes.
not Baumeister and Dahmer who were like,
Yeah.
pouring soy sauce into people's skulls and shit.
Hmm.
This is, it doesn't seem, yeah.
It seems
Sorry.
like an enterprise.
Yeah. Well, Um,
Well, to that end, also he financed himself, so he kills his buddy Charles Gunner and starts collecting his Social Security checks, sort of acting as him.
mhm.
And he drives his car around. He cleaned out all of his shit, starts living in his house, takes all of his stuff out.
He was
He
already screwing his
also
wife. Might as
once, yeah.
well.
Well, they were divorced, but at any rate, he gives the guy's kids to another family, and this is the interesting thing. So
Probably
Balaz,
for the
his
best.
wife Balaz actually handles the child support and
Hmm.
is sending money orders to the family who are taking care of Gunner's kids. And also, she is in possession of massive amounts of Gunner's property when she's questioned, and also she spends her weekends selling Gunner's stuff at flea markets, like for money. So what I'm making the case here is that perhaps one of the other people firing a gun at Charles Gunner might have been Carolyn Blaz.
Scott, how do you write women so well?
Well, I think of a man and then I take away all accountability, intelligence, and
What was it? Reason and accountability or something?
yeah,
I
something
was
like
hoping,
that.
but yeah, no, this woman was so,
Down to
and
clown.
dude, yeah, she was down to ride or die, dude.
Yeah,
Get
despite
you,
divorcing him after, I think it was just because he was on bail.
this
He
was a
had jumped bail.
this was a Jeffy and G-Max situation. Like it's not love is for poor people.
Yeah,
Like true love, real,
yeah,
like intertwining of souls, love. That's
yeah. I
not
don't know.
what these
I could
people are
see a sort
doing.
of natural born killers sort of archetype fitting over this as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So
anyway, regardless,
yeah,
but
sorry
during
for
this whole time, they're technically divorced. But oh, this is also where he starts living in the Wilseyville cabin, by the way, in Calaveras County. So he moves into he moves into a cabin owned by Belaz's family. Um, and he starts building his bunker, the famous bunker, of course. Now, I actually watched the footage he taped of himself building the bunker. Did you watch that at all?
Yes, and
Okay, you can
it's
hear Blaz in the background. You can hear
yeah.
Cricket in the background going "woo," like when he's digging out the hole and stuff. So, and he also mentions in the voiceover, he's like, "I've got some helpers to hold the camera today." Who's the other helper? I don't know. I do know that he had hired a bunch of teenagers to help him dig and stuff, so it's possible that was one of them as well. And also, by the way, was trying to get their 16-year-old sisters to post nude for him. By the way, fucking this guy's so
Incorrigible,
grody.
incorrigible. This guy.
Um, so I didn't even talk about the fucking Miranda Project, bro. And the Collector. He's also obsessed with this novel called The Collector from the 60s, which is a like early countercultural novel kind of thing. And it's like a horror kind of book, but it's like told from the perspective of the villain, which is like it was an interesting at the time literary device. And it's about a guy who's like a mild mannered like dweeb who collects butterflies, and he falls in love with a woman who would never be with him. And instead of trying to charm her, he captures her and keeps her locked up in his basement. And she eventually dies. Is how the book ends. Um, so this becomes an obsession throughout his entire life that he would like to emulate this in his own life. And he even sits down and did you watch this video? Where he sits
Oh
down in an
yeah,
easy
this
chair and
is
explains his philosophy and why he wants to do that. But he doesn't name the book, does he? In that,
no, not in that instance. I don't believe.
but he does like explicitly describe what is in the book, which is the sex slave living locked up in
Oh,
the basement kind of thing.
it's
Yeah,
second nature to him now.
yeah.
It's just
It's
the
like an ideal
reality.
of his. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
ideal of his that he would like to enjoy. Um, so okay, he's killed Charles Gunner. He's collecting his checks. He also kills his brother, who he's hated his entire life for being retarded. Um,
By accident, by no
yeah, he
fault
had
of
an
his own.
accident. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's collecting. He also does that so he can collect more Social Security checks from his brother. It's easy, obviously easier for him to continue collecting checks from his brother than it is
Yeah.
anybody else because he looks
Right.
like him. And so I don't think he ever stopped collecting checks from his brother. By the way, now that I'm thinking
Those
about
checks
it,
are probably still piling up outside
maybe
someone's
yeah,
door.
maybe. Um,
The family, they're just, how is he? I haven't heard from him in a
well,
while.
apparently the mother was like apparently the mother had put a missing persons report out for the brother, and then Leonard was like, I don't know, he's jumped me. I don't know what happened to him. Fucking asshole, right? I gave up,
Well,
set him up with a job, and then he just ghosts me like that.
kids.
The way he did it was he persuaded him to come up. He's like, I got a job for you up north if you
Yeah.
want to come check it out. And then just kills him. It's fucked up, man. Your
Did
own
they?
brother, fratricide, bro.
Mm-mm.
I get killing your friend that you secretly hate your whole life, you know? All right, I'm not saying I get doing it. I'm saying I could see the fucking path you mentally took to do that. But your brother, like
Your own hapless brother. It's
yeah.
it's very Cain and Abel.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
No good. Uh,
Um So also he starts going after people who are living in this famous boarding house called the Pink Palace in the Haight-Ashbury district. Again, this is a vortex of evil that like it's a real the reality of Haight-Ashbury is in such stark contrast to like the cultural meme we have associated with it. Hate is love.
oh man.
But no, hate is hate. Hate is bad. There's some bad stuff that happens there, man.
Mm.
And the other thing was the fact that they were in this sort of like post hippie 1980s hangover is
Yeah.
it naturally meant that all the people who he victimized, the people around them weren't going to go to the cops essentially. So he naturally saw this as a ripe picking ground for that. So he victimizes a guy named Maurice Rock, a black guy who's a guitar player. He lures him to the north to lures them out to Wilseyville by saying, "I've got a weed. I know in Humboldt County, I got a weed farm that you can work at and smoke all the weed you want, man." Now, again, I don't know what the benefit this was because it didn't seem like he was a well-off guy that he could steal money from. Randy Jacobson, on the other hand, was just a fucking had was getting disability checks, and therefore you could see the reason why Lake targeted him.
Mhm.
Um, at some point, by the way, also Aang comes back at this during this period, essentially. Um, but so the victims during this time is Randy Jacobson. He killed to get his checks. Maurice Rock, unknown black couple. We don't know who they are. We still to this day. Oh, one of them was actually figured out by DNA in 2025, actually.
Mhm.
But we don't have a motive. We don't know why he or how he came into contact with him. Oh, he also got his dick sucked by a guy. Told him the guy, he told the guy his name was Tom Myers.
Tell your friends Tom did it.
So he kept trying to get that guy to come up north so he could kill him and rob him and stuff. I think a big part of it is that he would go back to these people's apartments and just take all their stuff and have Cricket sell it at like a flea market on the weekend.
Right.
And that was a way for them to finance the whole operation.
Whatever way to keep some cash coming in.
Because they were spending it as soon as they could get it to on the production or building the bunker.
Right. Yeah.
It's very expensive because they had I watched the video of him putting it together. So first they had to dig out like a space for it out of the hill and have a guy come with a chainsaw cut all the trees down. And then they poured a foundation of concrete, meaning a concrete truck had to come. That's expensive.
Oh man.
Um,
Imagine working that job in retrospect.
yeah, yeah,
Ooh, heebie-jeebies, baby.
yeah.
No good.
Then he had to buy all these cinder blocks. And I think he probably stole a lot of this stuff too, by the way. He was doing
Oh,
petty crimes
absolutely.
all the time, breaking into people's houses and just taking stuff and selling it at a flea market. Um, but Cheryl Okoro is another lady that he captured. So this is the thing. We don't know what happened to her. They only found her fucking liver.
I thought uh I thought that came back identified as belonging to a child.
That was another one.
Oh,
Yeah. So Cheryl
sorry.
Okoro eventually was found in the pit. But I'll say this is that there is a extant videotape that in which Cricket and Lake are having sex, and she's referring to herself as Cheryl Okoro. So she knew about it. Something happened here.
Sounds like, I mean, given how often these people would play, uh, make believe with identities, literally, they had enough stolen licenses and,
Yep.
from dead people and, burglaries that they were constantly calling themselves something else
Yep.
and considering,
Alan Dre was the name that he used with the people in at the Pink Palace.
yeah. Um, yeah. And so Cricket
Oh,
not
he's selling
only,
weed to these people. That's how he got in with them,
right, right.
which
But
I
Crit
assume again was sourced from the Greenfield property
and humble.
in
And
Humboldt.
Cricket has to know not only something, but probably calling herself that woman's name because that woman's dead
Yes,
and she
yes.
knows
And
it.
it seems all we don't know how he lured her in. That's sort of a big mystery, but it's likely that he probably was like, "Hey, you want to like swing with me and my wife?" And then yeah, she might have been present at the killing. Slash, we don't know what kind of stuff they got up to. Maybe again, I do want to point out is that when they raided the house eventually, they saw that there was a like gigantic shop light over the bed, meaning that it would be like the kind of thing you would do for like shooting video in the bedroom. Well, not just for pornography, but the cops speculated that this was like a torture sort of like
Mhm.
rape dungeon essentially. Oh, and also there was eye bolts at the front and bottom of the bed posts, essentially, meaning someone could be tied to the bed. Now, again, you could explain that away as simple bondage stuff, but given the other circumstances, I tend to believe it's more.
Given the guns and the blood and the guts and the
Yeah.
gore, the
Um,
livers and femur bones. Um,
so Ing comes back at this point. He gets a job at a moving company. They end up bumping off two or three maybe people that are his coworkers, and it seems like it was primarily financially motivated slash revenge motivated, perhaps due to like
yeah.
friction they had on the job.
Mhm.
And this is really what they hanged Ing with when they went to trials, because how the fuck would Lake know these guys other than through Ing?
Right. And there are several points out of Lake's own mouth where he says, Charlie owes me one,
Yeah.
or Charlie made up for it. We're
Mm-hmm.
even. So there must be something like that where one for you, one for me. I'll help you out
Yeah.
with something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so and also Charles is now like involved in like the day-to-day minutia of what these guys are doing. Like Cricket's driving him or picking him up at a bus station and bringing him to work after they do an op together. This is the other thing with like Balaz had to know a lot about what was going on because she was so intrinsic to the operation, being the selling, the luring women, the transportation. In fact, after Lake's dead, which we'll get to, um
Damage
Balaz
control.
Cricket drives fucking Ing to the airport for him to escape to Canada.
Amazing.
How did she get immunity?
Give this woman immunity for 18 possible murder.
25 is the
25.
conservative number.
25.
18 was just Ing. Meaning all those, I
Yeah.
think you're forgetting about all the ones that were just Lake, or
Oh, it's so
just
sad.
Lake, air quotes. So yeah, we got Cheryl Okoro disappeared. A bunch of Randy Jacobson. Again, there's other bodies that have never been figured out. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing. Um, what else we got?
The family is one that I think
Oh, the Dubses. Yes,
the
so important.
Dubs.
They also hanged Aang on this because first of all, he was seen at the scene multiple times by multiple witnesses, and in his apartment, he had a map with their house circled in it. So, I mean, it's pretty dead to rights that he participated in this. So, what the story goes is that Harvey Dubs, that's the Sean was the kid, yeah. Harvey Dubs was a graphic artist, and his side hustle was that had a video production company.
That's it right there.
Yeah, it's the whole thing right here.
That's it.
And apparently Lake or Eng or both called him to say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about doing a gig for me editing or whatever. Could I come by to your studio slash office slash house?" And he said, "Yeah, of
Uh,
course."
if I may interject, he also would rent his equipment.
Yes, well, that was what they called him about, as I understand it. Yeah.
Go on.
So, the last thing we know about the Doves family is that the wife was on the phone with her best friend, and there was a knock at the door where men were at the door to talk about the video services. And then the family just fell off. Well, we found their bodies later, of course, but I mean, no one ever heard from them again. And so this is a woman, her husband, and a 1 year old child, actually, and they were all found. Actually, no, they never found
They
never
never found the
definitively
baby.
found the baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the other fucking thing. Maybe he sold that kid.
He's even said that. He said someone's already got him
Yeah. Oh, that was the
about the other
O'Connor kid.
one.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the Lonnie Bonds kid. But
right.
regardless, I'm not ruling out the idea that they sold this kid into servitude or something, sex servitude or something. Like it's this guy's bad. But also, there's the very real possibility that I think Eng had said that Lake had killed him himself, and like
There was a
in
very
sickly,
grisly.
yeah, sickly in a way that he said it like he did it to make himself tougher or something. Like he did it as like an exercise of like breaking it out his boundaries or something. Oof, bad stuff.
I kick these guys' asses.
They're dead. So
I, I I'll
Aang is
well,
alive, but
I'll kick his ass.
you
Let
could
me
you could
at him,
try.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I think he's pretty safe to fight at this age and condition, probably.
Also,
Um,
I get murdered. Kill me and film it.
Maybe I don't know, but yeah. So
So
the
angry.
point
I'm
is
so
that
angry.
when they finally apprehended the place, they found the Dubs's video equipment and no videos.
Yeah. This
All the videos were gone.
I have a suspicion that poor Mr. Dubs probably ended up with a tape that he wasn't supposed to after his equipment was used for something. Or maybe he was doing something on the side, not to speak ill of the dead and so on. But
I took it as a more simple thing where they said, "Oh, this guy's got the equipment we need. Let's just go kill him and his family and take it, and we'll have it now."
yeah, that's simple as, yeah.
That
But
seems like the most obvious explanation, but you're also it's possible what you're saying is true is that he had an association with Lake and was doing video stuff as
with
well.
the
It's
yeah,
possible.
that yeah, that's the only thing
He
that
was advertising in the yellow pages for the record about those services. So it's very possible Lake just looked in the yellow pages and said, "Ooh, this guy seems easy to kill."
oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Oh God, what a horror.
I know. So okay, again, so now they have their hands on editing and video equipment. And by the way, in the video of him making his bunker there, he clearly had voiceovers in it and had done video editing techniques. So he had already killed these people at this point, in other
Cross
words.
dissolves.
Yeah. Yeah, he did actually have that kind of stuff in it. But what's it called? So the Dubs family, and then so also the other main thing was this is a big fucking rat king is that the Lonnie Bond, R. Scott Stapley, and Brenda O'Connor and the Lonnie Bond Jr. Now, I did not realize this from reading simply the book.
You're
They did
good.
not
You got
indicate
this.
this whatsoever in the book. They made it seem like these people were simply innocent young people who are had a vacation home in the redneck hills of California for fun. However, it's a matter of public record that had a meth lab there. And they were selling creating and selling methamphetamines, as well as, and this was mentioned in the book, O'Connor prostituted herself to people, including Lake, at certain points for money. Um, by the way, the reason we know this as a matter of record is because Ng's defense in on appeal, not in the initial trial, but on
Mm-hmm.
appeal, used it as a mitigating factor
Mm-hmm.
as to why the it was a drug um business related
Mm-hmm.
retaliation on the part of Lake that Ng had nothing to do with. That was their contention. Obviously, we know that's not true.
Right. Exactly.
But that was the argument, and it's a matter of California Supreme Court records that it is an established fact made public to the jurors in that appeal that that those they were drug dealers. And so now we're presented with also the other thing was after he so it's a guy with a fucked up hand. That's Lonnie Bond, his best buddy who he just met on a fucking hiking trip. That seems odd. Robin Scott Stapley, and Bond's girlfriend, Brenda O'Connor, who they had a 1-year-old son with. He had a 1-year-old son with, and they were living up there. And we know, as a matter of fact, that they had illegal weapons. They had a meth lab, and they were often at odds with Lake for various reasons, including shooting, which I think is again another justification that Lake used in his brain to bring himself to kill these people. So now we're left with the question: were they part of a broader conspiracy involving Lake, or was it another example of Lake seeing a fiscal opportunity and just seizing it? Because if he was just to figure out, oh, these guys are making meth, I could see him just going, let's just kill them, take the girl, and she could be our next Miranda, or and then sell the drugs to my contacts who I already have, probably Oberon or somebody associated in that milieu. Or was he involved in a broader thing? Was the gun trafficking that they were conducting also involved, were they involved in that as well? We don't know. Um, uh, I'm sorry,
It's
something's going
all
on in the room here. It's making a little noise. It's okay.
hopefully it's not you know that little skinny-tailed devil,
Who?
Spencer
Oh yeah, yeah, it
Abrams.
is. It is. Yes.
Oh, naturally.
Um,
Is he about to snuff you out?
yeah,
Is
I think
he
he's gonna get me on a snuff film. He anyway, so what's it called? So the question is, oh yeah, we also didn't even talk about what's her name? Kathleen Allen. Uh and Mike Carroll. So the interesting thing was Mike Carroll was a another inmate at Leavenworth with Ing. So this is how they made that connection again. So this is again, it's tough for I mean, I don't envy fucking Ing's defense attorneys trying to make this case that it was all Lake
yeah.
because Ing made the connection to Carol, with which seemed like, by the way, Carol was selling his fucking girlfriend to these people, and then he ended up getting burned on the deal and killed because they found Mike Carroll's body on the property.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so there's a whole chronology. It's dark, but basically the idea was they went to go pick her. They had gotten their hands on Carol. They used Kathleen. Kathleen was like a 19-year-old half Japanese girl, half Jewish probably. Her last name's Allen. Um, and she, it seemed like her ex-con boyfriend had sold her to Eng essentially, and Lake. But then they killed him while this transaction was taking place, so they wouldn't have to pay him, I'm guessing. And they kept her as the first Miranda, which is in reference to the Collector novel, which in a sense though, they made her like a sex slave living inside the bunker, and eventually disposed of her because her remains were found eventually. Although it's interesting, like we have video footage of her alive, and they're merely psychologically torturing her. Um, and the other thing is like, yeah, that we have video. They had these buried videos of them in like a living situation, but no actual videos of them being tortured or killed or anything, even though we know that stuff took place.
We know it took place, but it has never been it it was never addressed in the court proceedings.
Yes.
Only what we can see now publicly
Yeah.
is what was addressed in
Hmm.
court, because it's likely that whoever scrubbed the scene, whether it was
It
Cricket
was cricket. It was
first,
cricket. Yeah.
Cricket plus whoever else did the last,
Went with her. Yeah.
to make sure, which how do you, it's just amazing that, they know these are the ones that are incriminating. These are the ones we have to yank.
Hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like,
It seems very weird. Yeah.
yeah. But
At
we
any
haven't even got,
rate,
we, yeah, she gave, did we even mention what she did? She said, yeah, I'll go with you in the morning. I'll show you up
well,
to the
let's
cabin.
cover that one after everything falls apart.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Essentially,
yeah.
yeah. Let's just finish getting like the crimes in.
Sure.
So yeah, we don't know what exactly happened to Kathleen Allen. We do know that she was, continually used for that stuff, and we have video evidence of it, of course, and no evidence of her demise, although we know other than her remains. And yeah, so then the bonds, and then I think we're up against the limit of people we know, as a matter of fact, were killed, right? That's everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. After the Allens, that
Yeah.
covers it. Um,
And
okay.
the bonds. Okay, but
And
Brenda O'Connor, they also kept as Miranda for a while before killing. And the way that they're talking to her, by the way, this is what actually convicted Eng, is the fact that he was saying there's other places, other bunkers. He says there's
mhm.
other bunkers. Essentially, he stops before he says bunkers. Actually, but more importantly, it's indicated quite clearly in this tape that there's a larger network of people, and he's saying I could send you somewhere else. I sent your boyfriend somewhere else. Although the reality was that he just shot them and put them in a fucking sleeping bag and
Right.
put him under the chicken coop. Oh no, that's where Randy Jacobson was. Never mind.
They do use the language that there are others.
Yes,
Uh,
I believe the defense said, "Oh, they were just saying that to psychologically dominate O'Connor in the video."
uh, yeah, because they
But
definitely
fuck
need,
you. That's not
yeah,
true.
oh yeah, because they need the upper hand. Yeah, she
Yeah, yeah.
might pull a fast one on them. Yeah, she's certainly in a position to argue. No, it's a slip of the tongue. And it's the
Yes.
kind of thing that gets you, you know,
Convicted.
or taking the cyanide,
Yeah,
uh,
highway.
cyanide way.
Um yeah, so
Double
shortly after all
standards.
this stuff, oh yeah, this is the most important thing. So after those three die, this is my favorite part of this made no sense in the book. I hope it stuck out to you as well. So Robin Scott
Again,
Stapley's dead. He's buried in a fucking sleeping bag next to his best buddy, Lonnie Bond. The baby's gone. We don't know where the baby went. Possibly dead. We do have it that Ing had bragged to his prison buddy that he had roasted a sucker, meaning a baby. So do with that what you will. However, Lake, in order to cover up this story, went back to Robin Scott Stapley's apartment where his girlfriend was living and said, "Hey, I'm so sorry to tell you this. Bikers came and killed everybody, but there was a bunch of drugs and guns there. But don't worry, it won't come back to bite you. I took care of everything. I burnt all the bodies, I hid all the evidence. You don't have to worry about anything. What I need from you is I need to take all of Scott's stuff from here and get rid of it. I'll make it look like he just moved out, and you don't have to worry about the cops coming to bother you." And she just said, "Okay." Now, this was
I
really incongruous to me. This is what led me
yes.
on the quest to find out why there was no mention of their criminal activities. But this makes perfect sense when you know that they were
Hmm.
running a meth lab, and why his girlfriend would be like, "Okay, fine, take all his stuff, and I won't go to the police about the
Hmm.
fact that you just said you burned my boyfriend's corpse to cover up something, some vague nebulous thing." But at
Well,
any rate, I thought that was a pretty fucking massive thing. And
yeah,
yeah,
no. Anytime there is some sort of just totally
out of left field
yeah,
thing.
skipping three steps on your way
It
up the
warrants
stairs.
further investigation.
Yeah. Um it's and that's the kind of thing where if further investigation was done into their operation, the meth op, the meth op, then that might have dredged up some other names that
Clearly. But
would
again, I do want to say, for the job of the prosecutor, I
mm,
understand not wanting to open that Pandora's box for the simple fact of we need to get a conviction on Ing.
yeah.
I get it. I as a human being with normal human psychology, I understand the inclination towards not delving into that stuff as a prosecutor.
Though damn if it didn't turn into a like a just bloodthirsty uh stick and poke situation at the end over Aang. The
Yeah.
people really like what the worst thing. No, it's not the hypocrisy. It's everyone that's left behind, and
And the people who didn't get justice, yeah.
and justice or no, none of there's no real justice on this side of the screen. But I mean, just the fact the damage that does to people, spiritually and psychologically,
Yes.
that they're clamoring, they need blood, like they need Aang dead, they need to know he's dead for
Hmm.
closure, they think.
Right.
But unfortunately there is just such
Quagmire. Um so what's it?
giggity.
Yeah, I don't watch that show. I
I'm not
meant
gonna.
in the traditional use of the word. But anyway, so the next week, it's also they got almost got caught here because fucking Aang was driving Scott Stapley's car and fucking a 16 wheeler. They managed. They just decided not to fucking run the plates like enough. It was too close to the time that they were had died for them to know that they were missing yet. But
Mhm.
anyway, oh, we didn't even talk about Paul Cosner or the guitar guy. Paul Cosner, they needed
Well,
to get a Honda Prelude from, and he was selling it in the want ads, and they just killed him. Took the car and probably took a bunch of more of his stuff, to be honest. He never, Ing never got convicted of that, even though he probably did have something to do with it. It just wasn't enough evidence for Cosner to have to have the evidence or whatever. But so they're driving around in his Honda Prelude, interestingly. And also Jeff Gerald was one of the we didn't talk about the other guy too. Oh, I forgot to mention Scott Stapley was the founder of the fucking San Diego Guardian Angels.
yes,
Even though he was a
which
junkie selling fucking meth too.
which I mean,
That's a whole other. I don't even know what to make of that.
you could didn't have his Billy Club.
I guess not. So but yeah, so Jeff Gerald was a bass player in a like punk band at the time that was kind of up and coming as I understand it, but he was a coworker of Aang's at the moving company and they basically just killed him and took all of his stuff and robbed him and sold it. And they didn't sell all of it because his bass was still there when they fucking raided the farm,
Ing
the
was trying to
ranch.
learn how to play.
Maybe. Um but and then
Have you
also
heard of
Parento.
Primus?
Yeah, Cliff Parento was the other coworker that had worked there, and they basically wanted to steal his motorcycle. Essentially, was why they killed him. And again, it might be that there was some sort of beef between him and Aang as well, but we don't know. So those are the two other people that were found at the ranch. Um, okay, so the next thing is they needed a vice for God knows what. It was the big vice too. It was the kind of vice that Curly's head was in the Three Stooges, if you know what I'm talking about. That famous gag.
Yes.
Um,
It's for Charlie M. Charlie N.
maybe. Yeah. No, I was thinking it was for torture videos, to be honest.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why I evoked the head in the vice imagery.
You make me pop your eye out of your head
This guy, yes, Casino.
for
I understood that reference.
no, I'm trying to toss you the ball here to do something with it.
Or video in this case. But anyway, so they were getting a vice for God knows fucking what. And Ing he also got bagged shoplifting a bunch of times, I should mention. Uh
Yeah, he's
Not slick.
unstoppable. Yeah.
Not slick.
He
But he ends up
cannot.
getting caught shoplifting a vice from a lumberyard slash hardware store. And he dumps it into the trunk of a Honda Prelude that previously had belonged to Paul Cosner. Um, and out of the woodwork comes Leonard Ing, sorry, Leonard Lake rather. And
Dang.
they run the plates. They see that the plates are for Robin Scott Stapley. And also they found an illegal gun with an illegal silencer in the trunk as well, next to the stolen vice. So Lake walks up and goes, "Hey, what can I help you guys with?" This seems stupid, by the way. You probably shouldn't have done this.
Just walk away.
Just leave.
Well, they
Yeah.
had their shits all in the car and
Yeah,
like
you're
prints
right.
are all
Actually,
over it.
that's actually must be it.
He,
Yeah.
yeah, tried to defuse it.
So he tried to defuse it. He shows him the Scott Stapley driver's license that he looked nothing like. And they were wise enough to go, smells very fishy. Oh, should be mentioned. Oh no, he wasn't missing. Scott's That's why they had his license plate on there because nobody had reported him missing because of the fact that they went to his girlfriend to be like, "Don't worry, I covered it up." So they looked at the VIN number though. They called in the VIN. Oh, they also saw that gun had been bought by Scott Stapley also. So this is all kosher so far. But they run the VIN and it's for Paul Cosner, who had been reported missing. And he what's it called? So they're like, okay, this is fucked up. Something's weird here. And they take Lake in and they search the car and they realize that there's a bill registered to Carolyn Blaz of Wilseyville, and the address of the place in Wilseyville is discovered finally by the police. While Lake is in custody, they quizzed him on, they said, okay, so you're Robin Scott Stapley. What's your birthday? And he goes, fuck.
No,
I
your
don't know.
birthday.
So they said,
Shit.
we know you're not Stapley. And he goes, may I have a pen and pencil and a glass of water, perchance?
I just see it, his back. He straightens up, puts his hands on the table, and yeah, asks for pen, paper, and water.
And he writes a quick note to Cricket to say basically, hey, I'm sorry, I love you. Tell my wife and I tell my sister and mother I'm also sorry, and I love them. And that's
I'm
it. Basically,
going
that
to
was
hell. Bye.
yeah. Bye. Nice knowing you. And he takes the glass of water and pulls a cyanide capsule out of his shirt collar
Hmm.
and pops it. Falls on the floor within minutes
Hmm.
and he's in a coma. He ends up living 4 more days, but eventually expires because they got to him far too late for the
Hmm.
cyanide. Now, I was talking to my coworker about this yesterday, and he just put something in my head. He goes, "How easy is it to even get cyanide?" And I
Yeah,
said,
right.
"I don't know."
Did you look into that?
I
Because
didn't look into it. I didn't have enough
I
time, but I imagine it's not exactly simple to get.
it's and by the way it sounds, he was always talking about
He had it
having.
since the 60s.
He was probably popping it just as a,
I don't think so.
for tricks. Yeah.
But he used to tell even his first wife, he told that he was married to during the 1960s, or maybe 70s, I don't know, whatever. But the point is for a long over a decade, he had been telling everyone who had listened that he is going to kill himself if he ever gets caught and will never go to jail. Particularly after that Philo raid, he had said, "I'm on the run and I'll never go to jail. I'll kill myself with a cyanide capsule before I ever get caught by the law." And you know what? To his credit, put his money where his mouth is, killed himself. Now, I also want to take a quick side thing to say I listened to that Mae Brussel stuff. Dude, fuck
Yeah.
Mae Brussel. She had
Yeah.
nothing new to say. And also, she's a fucking Jewish disinfo agent, connecting everything to Nazis. I read a lot of stuff that Lake wrote. Nothing in there indicated his even a minor inkling interest in fucking Nazism. And of course, Mae Brussel, whose real name is like Gladnick or whatever, she's the daughter of a rabbi. So it's the typical fucking limited hangout mixed with fucking well poisoning, disinfo bullshit.
Yeah.
So don't listen to Mae Brussel. In short, she barely had anything. The only piece of information that I found relevant and interesting at all was that at this point, they questioned Cricket at this point, and she immediately retained attorney, which was who managed to get her immunity in exchange for material and information testimony, as well as being willing to be subpoenaed to be to testify in court. Um, but the
Give
only
us
thing that
back the
made Brussel
tapes.
introduced to me that was new was the fact that the lawyer that represented Blaz was a guy named Stan Rosansky, who himself did not. She actually lied, by the way. She said he did this thing, but it was
Mm.
actually his law partner. His law partner represented Paul Cutter, who is also a different fake name of a Jewish guy, who was a defendant in the Iran Contra affair and had been convicted actually of what's it called trafficking arms to Iran in some capacity in connection to the enterprise, as it were, which is the private side of the Iran Contra cabal, which actually, by the way, as a side note, involved Jeffrey Epstein. Thank
Yeah.
you, Johnny Vedmore, for that research.
Thank you, Johnny. Yanni.
Um, okay, so That's so Mae Brussel gave me that one small piece of information that I found relevant. It's also worth mentioning I looked into Stan Rosansky. He's currently disbarred from practicing as a lawyer because in the 90s and 2000s he used his clients structured settlements as a slush fund and would do like fucking what do you call that Ponzi scheme shit where he was like, oh, somebody needs money. I'll here take some from this guy, give it to him, and then meanwhile all the money it was empty the whole time essentially.
Between him and Bugliosi, I don't know who can I look up to anymore, you know?
Good question, man.
My heroes.
So yeah, that's so okay. You were mentioning before that in the wake of this, so they are obviously immediately reached out to Cricket and her involvement because it was her name on the utility bill that had drawn them to this location. And she says, "Oh yeah, it's so hard to get out there. I tell you what, I'll meet you guys there tomorrow, and I'll show you around. Don't even need to get a warrant. I'll show you guys everything." And so they do. They took the bait for this, and apparently that they meet her there, and she admitted that they had been there the night before and had cleaned out things that quote would embarrass me.
Oh, oh, really? Well, that's good.
Yeah, really.
That's it was a mess. I can't have company over like this.
Also, in this time period, she also drove Ing to San Francisco International Airport, where he went to Chicago. We don't know who helped him in Chicago, but somebody drove him over the border into Canada. Who? We don't know. We'll never know. He'll never tell.
Charles Gunner. Oh, well,
Fuck.
that's
It's,
where he
I
pops
mean,
in.
there's a very small. No, there's not. He was dead. We knew he
He
was
couldn't
already under the fucking under the telephone ditch.
he couldn't fit in the seat, reach a steering wheel.
So what happened to Charles Eng, though, interestingly, is that this seems weird because they on one hand they mentioned that his sister lived in this city in Toronto.
Mm.
Was it Toronto? It must have been, right? Yeah, Google that. Whatever town, whatever city in Canada it was, he had a sister. So to me, it's like he probably was being harbored by his sister. But when he was discovered, he was living in like a fucking lean-to in a nature preserve or something. But he got arrested for shoplifting for food and in a grocery store or whatever. And when the security guard tackled him, he tried to fucking shoot him and he shot him in the hand. And he's convicted on assault with a deadly weapon, and illegal firearms possession in Canada. He's locked up in Canada, and of course, people thought. Speaking of which, Mae Brussel herself actually had said, "I don't think he's ever going to get extradited. This is going to be how they cover this up, is they keep him in Canada forever." Because
Mm.
at the time there was no precedent for Canadian authorities to extradite a an American criminal back to America if they face the death penalty. In fact, they had a protocol to not do that in general terms. And it's interestingly, this was a really big turning point because they established the fact that they would extradite somebody based off of the fact that they are a very bad murderer. Now, the problem is that there was the Canadian government. The reason they did this essentially was they were worried that if they kept the precedent that they would never extradite people for who face the death penalty, that criminals would just start flowing over the border
Mhm.
and get into the system, so they couldn't go. And actually a massive hazard for the Canadian government. So
Yeah,
I see why
absolutely.
they did it actually.
So they made a deal where they said, "All right, listen, we'll kill him, replace him with a Filipino guy, and you can have that. All right, and you can keep him for as long as you do whatever you want with him."
Yeah. While he was in jail in Canada, though, he foolishly made friends with another pedophile murderer guy named Maurice LeBurge.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
we're not going to get into what his crimes were, but they're bad, and they also
no good.
indicate involvement in some bad stuff. However, he drew pictures. Eng drew a bunch of pictures that basically admitted all of the stuff that he was contending in court that he did not do. such as killing children, murdering people, and also he, in very plain words, told this guy that he did all that stuff. And that Maurice LaBerge was a jailhouse snitch, and he actually ended up being released early and was paid for 40,000 Canadian dollars or something.
Oh, it's like 1 million American real
It
dollars.
actually would be a lot of money, yeah.
It's a couple
Well,
bucks,
actually,
but
no, it would be more like 20,000 American,
yeah.
or maybe or 30,000 American. But anyway, didn't get to spend it because as he was leaving, he was just
He
he got
had the
Karen
money.
Silkwooded.
Oh,
He had the money on
Karen,
him.
it's all the money we had.
He was on had his money on him, and he randomly in the middle of pitch black night drove into an unoccupied farm piece of farm equipment and died in an open field.
I, it could happen to anybody.
I guess, man. It seems fishy to me, but whatever.
And so it's BB.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's what that happened. But anyway,
yeah.
Ing ends up getting extradited, and the court proceedings, he did a bunch of fucking kooky stuff too. Like he got a phone, he had a phone in his cell, and he called the juror to try to trigger a mistrial. But I guess the powers that be decided that we are not scrapping all this work
This
for
guy's
that.
fired 12 lawyers. He's trying to sabotage this thing at every turn. But meanwhile, every time they look at him, he's just sitting there like, just,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, he had a bunch
dumb.
of outbursts in court too, for the record.
Yeah, he is a little mouthy type.
Um, but yeah, so they end up. So this is again. So Cricket has immunity, and inexplicably, another coinky dink here.
Mhm.
The defense, who initially had planned to use her as the star witness with which to completely destroy the case against Ing being an active participant, brought her on the stand and said, "No questions, Your Honor." Makes no fucking sense why this would be. Now, why? I can only speculate as to why. Perhaps threats. Uh, perhaps I don't know. I can't. I genuinely can't conjure a satisfactory explanation as to why this happened. I know why the prosecutorial team didn't, because that would damage their case against Ing. It makes sense that they would not ask her any questions other than I could even see the case to ask her questions that implicated Ing if they liked, but they
Yeah,
decided not to.
yeah. It just seemed like they're, overnight they had to, we're putting the kibosh on all this.
And again, at the end of all this, he ends up being convicted of all but one of the charges of murder, given the death penalty. But in all of this, no snuff films were ever found. No, not really any sex videos were even found outside of the ones of just Cricket and Lake together. However, there was a video that was furnished to the court by a guy only known as a pornography collector named Hal. I tried my fucking damnedest to find this guy's name this morning, and ChatGPT looked very hard for me, and I did my own research as well. And ChatGPT eventually decided to say, "This is what I think you should do. You should send an email to the California Supreme Court records keeper for a full public appellate slash trial record in the People versus Charles Cheetat Ang, case number SO80276."
Whoa.
It wrote me
Damn.
a fucking an email to send.
Damn.
It wrote me up an email to send, and it says the
Send.
volume
Hit it.
28, pages 6,764 to 6,780, which is in that part of the transcript. It says there's an argument between the defense and the prosecutorial team as to whether this should be considered entered into,
The
because the
record.
defense wanted it entered into because they felt that this it incriminated Cricket as opposed to Ing.
Mhm.
And they did end up furnishing it into the record. And but there's, I assume, inside this court record it says the full name of this guy, Hal.
Mhm.
But for casual, and by the way, I bet if I emailed them, they say no, for the record.
or ignore you.
Please, if you guys, if a listener wants to do this for me, I'd be happy to help cooperate with you to help you do it. But
Absolutely.
we don't know who Hal is and what his connection to Aang is. Now, the thing that's interesting is, where did Hal get this tape? In the tape, by the way, the contents of the tape is it's Aang and sorry, it's Lake and Balaz Cricket in bed looking through a book of photographs of women, and they're selecting one who they'd like to kidnap.
We have no evidence of any wrongdoing in any of the files.
Yeah. So I would just like to know whether he would manage to get this before. Was it something that had leaked somehow from after Lake was dead? That's if that's a possible thing, which
Uh-huh.
means that Hal probably had no involvement in the operations with Lake. But there's a very real possibility that he had it from either A, he knew Lake personally, which is
Mhm.
possible, or B, he was involved in some sort of underground pornography exchange, or C, he was involved in some sort of Odyssey Foundation style mail order program and or community. What one of those things are, we don't currently know. It is a massive question mark on the entire case. Um, and again, the other big question mark is why Balaz was given immunity and what she took from the ranch. Um,
We'll see.
we'll
We'll
see or we
see what
won't see. We'll see, Vil. So I don't
yeah.
know, folks. We'll do with that what you will. What do you? So Patrick, in summation,
In summation, um, what we ought to take from this, I'd say, is we need to be able to recognize the patterns of obfuscation
yeah,
and the dark corners and dusty little cracks within which justice slides, and
yeah.
plausible deniability is
What's your verdict on the Die for Me book? Is you think it's a in the right
very
place,
well,
coming from the right
it's
place, kind of?
a little gratuitous, but I think he was very fact oriented, and just seemed to put everything except a few things that were, you know, notable, um, like
The
the whole meth
bonds
cooking.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but ultimately, it's a valuable book,
Yeah, it's definitely a lot
because
of
there's not much on
details in it.
these.
I want to say also is that one little like catnip the author put into the record was the fact that when Lake had was working for that camp, he furnished a CIA published book on some like sort of survival technique to the camp, like as a resource to show the kids for survival or whatever. So I like how he sort of like name drops the CIA a little bit. But the question is like, did he get that from the CIA or did he just get that from some weird exchange he got through the Soldier of Fortune magazine? We'll never know. But yeah, it's interesting. The whole thing is obviously, to me, it fits neatly within the overall infrastructure of the program to kill um modus operandi, utilizing like these sort of like fall guys, as it were, to because I mean, no one can accuse Lake and Ing of being like really meticulous planners or like perfect operators, never fucking up. In fact, as I understand,
Pinky
with
in the brain. They
yeah. But I was gonna say, even one example I can think of is I think when they killed Cosner and took his Honda Prelude, Lake got shot in the hand by his own gun. So and then he also told his sister that it had involved the bonds. It had been like they had done a drug deal or something, and that it had gone wrong, and the guy's gun shot or whatever, but he got him. Again, this is his sister now knows he's like killing people in the drug trade as well. Also, what happened there? Whatever happened there?
Whatever happened there. Uh, it was between real greaseball shit, you
It
know.
was grease. There's some real greaseball shit going on here. Yeah. So again, I don't know what else to say. Leonard Lake, Charles Ng, Program to Kill. You decide. But I think it's pretty clear what's going on here.
Yes or yes.
Yes, yes, or yes, indeed. Anyway, I think that's it, right? I think we covered the meat of it. And if you want to know more, obviously pick up the book and also again, programtokill.net and the YouTube channel for Patrick, the Deliberate Stranger / Lawfield in Love. Um, check that stuff out. Obviously, this is sort of like a primer, as it were. But yeah, so I'll wrap up now. www.historyhomospod www.historyhomos.com for the RSS feed. I'm going to be doing more with that website soon. I think I'm going to have like a splash page at very least. It's not just going to be the RSS feed anymore. We'll figure it out. I in the later in the summer I'll have more time after vacation. Oh, and so you're also you get the show. That's how you get the RSS feed. But also you get our show on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Rockfin if you like still. And also, most importantly, if you want more of the show as well as the main episodes, www.historyhomospod.substack.com. You get this episode as well as a weekly bonus episode, and it's a full length, fully thought out episode. This past week we did in an additional entry in our food history series. We did an episode with our good friend Jared about the history of the donut. Very, very fun and actually extremely informative episode as far as food episodes go, as far as donuts go.
Spiritually edifying.
Yeah, it is. So as is eating donuts. But I was gonna say is the yeah, so you can follow us across social media on Twitter and Instagram at History Homos Pod. If you want to join the friendliest place on the internet, the Telegram chat, t.me/historyhomos is the channel, t.me/historyhomos chat is the chat. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you'd like a t-shirt that is not size large, email me your size and address at historyhomos@gmail.com. Die with dignity. Do you want to just read me that quote back again?
I'm fatter, older, balder, and not much wiser.
Let's see how this goes. Later, homos.